This is gonna be your best friend. Hey everybody, so today I'm going to kind of expand a little bit on last week's Monday's tip with a little bit more in-depth explanation on a couple of things. If you remember last week, I brought up this notebook and I introduced you to the 5 steps to introducing a new food to your child if they are extremely resistant to trying it. And I noticed that I forgot a little bit extra detail on the steps. The bite step that I have here does not mean that they actually chew it or swallow it. It means that they take a bite and they spit it out. And I know that that sounds a little bit grotesque and it might not be a table manner that you want to encourage because, let's face it, it's not actually table manners. But I want to argue on the fact that getting your child to try food is one of the first things that they learn, and then table manners comes after that. If your child is old enough to understand the basics of table manners, there are plenty other of table manners that you can focus on with that child. Right now, trying the food and getting them to be willing to try foods is the #1 manner that you want them to have. Can you imagine them being 18 years old and sitting at the family Thanksgiving table and not being willing to try over 90% of what's there? You gotta get them to be trying the food first, and then the table manners will come secondly. If you remember on my first video that I ever did, I told you that at the age of 2, a child has to try things 12 to 15 times before they grow a palate for it. And that increases as they grow older. By the time that they're 5, they may have to try it up to 20 to 25 times, depending on how picky they are, before they decide that they want to eat it as a regular food. So you gotta go in the order of progression. First, you have to get them used to trying foods, and then you can work on their table manners. The other thing that I want to throw in there is that even though we have this bite and spit routine at home, it's not something that we replicate in every place that we go to eat. We don't do it at restaurants or in public places. We don't do it at friends' houses. We usually don't even do it at family houses. It depends on how informal we're being at the time. But when you do get to the point where your child is trying more foods to where they aren't spitting it out, they are going to trust you more on the foods that you're offering them and be a little bit more willing to swallow it. So don't worry about the spitting part being bad manners. We can take care of that at a later date. Right now, where we need to get to is actually trying the food. And with that, I would like to introduce you to my little friend. This is what I've called the No-Thankyou bowl, or the spit bowl, or whatever you want to call it is fine. But basically the idea is whenever we are introducing a food that's challenging to one of our kids, we bring the bowl out and set it on the table. It's an indication to them that we are not going to be pressuring them to eat and swallow the food that is being presented to them. If they try it, and depending on what's in this notebook on how far they are along, if they try it, they will have the possibility of putting it into the No-Thankyou bowl after they have done a successful try. This is kind of the catalyst for taking off the pressure on your kids when you're having them try something new. And it really brings down the mealtime meltdown factor to a minimum level so that you can keep things so that you can control the table atmosphere during your dinner or lunch. For some of you out there who might be a little bit more etiquettely correct, they might be a little bit shocked or apprehensive to you requesting them to spit into a bowl. But once they know that they're not going to be in trouble for doing this activity, they're going to hop right along with it, and it's going to bring your mealtime meltdowns down to a much lower level. So give it a try and let me know what you think. That's all for your Playful Bite for today. I will see you on Wednesday for our next activity.